Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 17 of our F125 Aston Martin Driver Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix out in Baku. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live Friday from Monza, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We had a pretty good race at the Temple of Speed, despite the car not really showing that it was going to have such speed. We recovered for a podium finish in the end, or we were going to until I bottled it on the very last lap, but we were the only driver in the entire field to make the one-stop work. If we have a look at the World Championship, Max Verstappen currently 21 points clear of Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri still in third, just 14 points ahead of myself after he had an absolute stinker. It's safe to say, I think with 8 races to go, that it is most likely a 2-horse race between Lando and Max now, a bit like we saw in 2024. But weirdly, when we take a look at the performance chart, it looks like, Williams have got the jump on us as we head into this weekend. So clearly there's a lot of pressure still from some of the teams behind, bringing a lot of upgrades to their cars. As you can see, I've got 1 upgrade going on. Alonso's got 3 though. So hopefully we're going to be able to try and continue our push towards the front. Also, if you're new, please make sure you get yourself subscribed to the channel. We're less than 100 away from 10k at the moment. A massive thank you to everybody for all their continued support so far with F125. I want to try and get this first season finished off, hopefully by the end of next week, but we've got some very exciting other stuff coming to the channel soon. So without further ado, let's return here to Baku.
And a warm welcome here ahead of qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Normally these streets are lined with vehicles, it's non-stop traffic jams, but today the roads are closed to everyone except the 20 best drivers in the world. It's time for qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Well, often here in Baku the script seems to be we're not that quick on a Saturday afternoon, but the car really does come alive on a Sunday. The AI, they are fantastic at getting 100% at their machines around this venue in a much kind of quicker manner than I'm able to. So let's wait and see what happens though as we head into qualifying today. I must admit, I'm looking forward to this one. Monza gave us a bit more confidence as we head to this circuit because I think the car's going to hopefully be a little bit better here. Obviously, especially if we can make the tyre strategy work. But, you combine it with the AI, they can be very aggressive around this venue as well, so only time will tell. Baku is always one of those circuits where no 2 races are the same, as we've seen many years before. Of course, IRL, these races can be quite unpredictable and rather scary. Just trying to take it nice and easy. This car is quite settled here. It does seem, I know I've mentioned it before, but it's a car that really doesn't like to be overdriven. It's quick when you're driving it at 99%. Which I think suits both Fernando and I's fairly smooth style driving a Formula 1 car as well. But as we make our way at the final corner, then the long run back towards the start-finish line, I think we might actually run out of battery here on the run back to the flag. We've nailed it pretty well, actually. We're going to do a 1:39.9. We go quicker than Hamilton, but slower than Hulkenberg. I think we're going to see a mixed-up grid. Well, less than a minute then left on the clock as we head back out into the circuit, ready for our final run here. You can see Liam Lawson has now gone quicker than me as well, so I think we're going to see a lot of times change right towards the end. Clearly Fernando Alonso and I believe Charles Leclerc happy with the lap times they've done, because they're not going to come back out into the circuit again. I've got to be so careful of that first curbing on the outside there. You've got to try and get the car wedged over it. It can really upset the balance, as it did there. Through turn 2, I mean, you're just mashing those curbs. Often feels like on F125 that you're not attacking the curbs that much. But Baku is no ordinary circuit. Verstappen, 38.5 now, goes to the top of the board. Charles Leclerc, though, a 37.9. That is a ridiculous lap time. Try to get over that curbing on the inside there. Attack, then nudge the wall as we plunge down the hill through the old town. One more real corner to go though as we try and get on the throttle nice and early, carry the speed off of the corner, and we are finally up into the green, but will it last? By the time we get back round to the start-finish line here, I don't know if we've used a bit more battery on this lap than we did last time, but we're just going to try and drain it on the run towards the line. I mean, we might improve time-wise. We might not even gain a spot, as we're going to improve by about half a tenth. We stay 15th. That entire second run was basically pointless. Well, there we are. Charles Leclerc, he loves this venue. 6/10ths clear of Max Verstappen by the end of qualifying. It will be both Red Bulls, though, ahead of both McLarens here when all is said and done. I mean, Leclerc's put 1.7 seconds on Lewis Hamilton, who, of course, holds the record for the most pole positions ever in Formula 1. So a ridiculous lap time by Charles there. We ended up about half a tenth behind Fernando Alonso, so there really wasn't much between the two Astons. It's a shame again. Our car's just got no speed in qualifying. Anyway, points aren't awarded on Saturday, unless it's a sprint, so let's get into the race.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. Baku City Circuit then. It's an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Piastri, Lando Norris, and Lawson, Russell, Ocon, Hulkenberg, and Jack Doohan, Hamilton, Bortoleto, Fernando Alonso, Mr. Monaco, Behrman, Antonelli, Pierre Gasly, and Carlos Sainz. Albon and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Of course, it looks like we've gained one grid spot from Kimi Antonelli, ready for the start of this one. So the team, though, they want us to go hard tyres long in the first stint and then go mediums towards the end. As I've said many times before, tyre wear isn't much of a concern here in Baku, so hopefully that's going to work out alright for us as we head through the race today. Clearly Aston Martin have got a plan, and we've just got to try and follow it. Clearly a lot of others have got this same plan as well. The 5 red lights are on, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go there, just about managing the wheel spin on the run down towards turn 1 as Bortoleto. Oh, and Alonso there just banging wheels with me on the outside. Maybe didn't spot us wheel to wheel through that first corner. Let's just see if we can try and get down his inside through turn 2 there. Hamilton making up places as Doohan looks to be struggling a little bit off the start. We'll make sure we give Fernando plenty of room on the outside off of turn 2. But again, our teammate going to try and get a run on me to make our way down in towards turn 3. It looks like there's a lot of concentration up ahead as somehow we end up going around the outside of Jack Doohan. That'll give us the inside line ready for the next corner. Not too sure why he's turning in on me. I was quite clearly there down his inside on the apex, but Leclerc's bolted free. I believe it was Tsunoda and the McLarens having a battle just a little bit further behind. So Verstappen, our World Championship leader, has been able to bolt free as well there, as both myself and Bortoleto are making good progress at the start. And we're going to try and go wheel to wheel with Bortoleto. Luckily for us, I'm pretty certain the AI again inside F125 are hard-coded just to back out if you're going side by side up towards the castle, because we are up to P11 then by the end of lap 1, so 3 spots gained, all fairly clean and tidy as well. Tiny little bit of wheel banging with other drivers, but you know, it's always fine margins here in Baku. But yeah, Leclerc already stretching his legs at the front of the order. Our Ferrari just bringing some upgrades towards the end of the year. Hamilton then, Ferrari power versus Ferrari power, as he will go wheel to wheel with Esteban Ocon on the run back down in towards turn 1. They're still wheel to wheel though. Looks like Ocon might have a tiny bit more straight line speed. Hamilton's to still get the job done though. He's on a slightly softer set of tyres, ready for the start. And yep, down the inside he'll go, and up then into P9. But yeah, if we can get past Esti Besti here nice and early, already up into the points. I just want to try and score points basically every race between now and the end of the year. That's the goal. Well, Ferrari being one of our biggest Constructors' Championship rivals this year, I was hoping we could slowly follow Hamilton through the order, but he looks like he's making light work of some of these other cars early on. Esteban Ocon Liam Lawson, and now I believe Hulkenberg have all been navigated as Esteban going to try and get a run on Liam Lawson back down in towards turn 1. Don't know whether the New Zealander's actually got DRS or not. He must do to be able to stay almost wheel to wheel. Oh, with Esteban there is huge rear moment sliding the car down in towards turn 1. This is, again, the issue we've got in this Aston Martin. It feels very balanced here, very safe and tidy. But we just gain nothing on the straights. I'm running very low downforce here, and it's just still not working for us, as I think they're 3 wide just up in front. No idea which McLaren that was on the inside, but I think they had to back out. So did Hamilton, so immediately all of these guys just getting forced back. That's the other one as well that's worrying me just a little bit. Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Of course, Mercedes are other big rivals in the World Championship this year. Looks like Kimi Antonelli is able to slice his way through as well pretty quickly. But, I mean, look at that mini-map. Charles Leclerc, he must be two-stopping this race. The lead is built up early on. It really does seem like things have spread out quite early. As Lawson there trying to give me a big old squeeze on the run back down towards turn 1.
Now, keep it up.
You will get past him, though, and finally up inside your top 10 there is Doohan trying to get around the outside of him as well.
At the moment, the car behind is lapping faster than us by around a second a lap.
Yeah, let's leave those two to fight behind, and we'll focus on Esteban in front. But I must admit, I do really enjoy, obviously, the difference between this and the My Team career mode, where we've still got very much a backmarker car inside that series. We really are just trying to drag every result we possibly can out of it. So that normally means that the early laps are super, super important. Not to say they're not super important inside this series as well, but it just feels like you can be a little bit more patient, a little bit more sensible. I think it's honestly more rewarding in this Aston Martin car just to buy your time a little bit more, as Hulkenberg now I think has lost the DRS to those guys in front. Still though, that Sauber, best of the rest early on in this GP. Maybe not for much longer as all. Esteban Ocon closing in on him, but not able to make the move happen. Still looks like we've got, I think that's Hamilton now and Russell, the former Mercedes duo, battling, and that's just kind of keeping us all quite close. Esteban Ocon then, he might just have about to lose the DRS to Nico Hulkenberg here, as we've been trying to apply a bit more pressure to him this lap. I think he'll just about stay in the range of the Sauber in front of him, but we're going to get a good run on the Haasman back in towards turn 1. Have to drain the battery pretty much entirely there, as he'll take the inside line. We will try and go late on the brakes around his outside.
Hit that target. That sets us up nicely for the rest of this race.
Oh, happy with that move there. Just managed it on the brakes. So just see there locking at the rear slightly through turn 2. Annoyingly though, we haven't got the DRS on Hulkenberg, as he's trying to go for a move on Hamilton again. Here comes Esteban Ocon back around our outside. So just try and hang on there. There's plenty of battles going on everywhere now. Suddenly Baku's become a little bit crazy. As Hamilton again down the inside of Russell. I want to try and get to this front of this group and then just run away. Oh, Hulkenberg, big moment as we make our way up and towards the old town. Are we going to be able to try and find an opportunity here? Is he even going to stay in the range of those cars in front? As he will just position that car beautifully as we make our way down the hill. That's the one corner. I just keep nudging the wall on the exit. It's really costing us with the tyre wear, so still got to be careful of that, as I think Nico will just hang on inside the range of Lewis. He's, Hulkenberg, he's doing it in this game and IRL. You can tell just how much experience he's got behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car. He doesn't go, he's not too impatient. He waits for things to kind of fall into place. As you can just see there, Ocon again around my outside. We hang on there around the Haasman again. These aren't really the cars I want to be fighting today. And again, we just about will, I believe. No. Esteban not wanting to back out of it through turn 2. And again now Hulkenberg might be able to get a run on Lewis Hamilton here as they make their way down the next short straight. George Russell trying to defend. Esteban Ocon trying to attack around my outside. As we lock the rears there, we were lucky to gather that up. Hulkenberg, what on earth is going on there just in front? Again, Hulkenberg and Hamilton having a big battle at the moment, and this time around that might give George Russell an opportunity to run away there, as Hamilton really starting to struggle now on his medium tyres. Nico's going to make it through. We're going to try and find an avenue down the inside of Hamilton as he really wanted to try and defend that one. Oh, a little bit of contact there as I think Hamilton bobbled out over the curbing.
You might start to notice it soon.
Hopefully that's not going to cost us too much in this GP, but a little bit of contact there. Could have potentially given Lewis a bit more room, but he was the one that bounced out into us. Oh, there we go, Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg into the pit lane then. So that seems like quite an early stop for the Sauber, considering he's on hards. He's definitely two-stopping then.
2.1 seconds.
I've definitely been a bit too aggressive though with this first set of tyres. We're just struggling a little bit with them. But we still got to try and get him to about the end of 14 there, as Hamilton clearly hasn't picked up much front wing damage, if any at all, because he is staying out. Oh, there we go. My suspicions about Charles Leclerc as well also appeared to be true in this Grand Prix. The Monegasque man been and come out of the pit lane then, as all we've got yellows out further behind. Not too sure who that is. I believe that's the Sauber of Hulkenberg that might then be dropping to the wayside in this Grand Prix, as Leclerc's already got a pit stop margin over us. But a safety car now would really change things up. No, it's Gabriel Bortoleto that's out of the Grand Prix. But I don't think we're going to get a safety car for it, surprisingly. Oh, there we go. Timer warning light now has just flashed up then. So I think we're going to peel into the pit lane at the end of this one. But yeah, really, obviously, after all that chaos in the first third of the Grand Prix, Russell and myself have just kind of been sat in no man's land at the moment. I feel like I could be quicker than George once we bolt on a second set, and hopefully we'll undercut him by just a little bit. But Antonelli, he seems to be slightly quicker behind us, closing in on the pair of us. I think, maybe, in the patch that they did last week, I want to believe that Antonelli's been buffed a little bit. Either that, or he's just getting quite good on this game. Making our way then through the final couple of corners, it's still Red Bulls, McLarens, and Charles Leclerc fighting up at the front of the order, but Leclerc now steadily moving his way past both those McLaren cars, and let's not forget, he's pretty much going to have a tyre advantage most laps between now and the end of the Grand Prix, so I still think he's likely going to win this one, unless we get like a badly timed safety car, I should say, for him. But yeah, Russell then is going to try and extend this stint a little bit further, as we are obviously going to get jumped by Alonso and Hulkenberg. Don't know where we'll come out in relative to Lewis Hamilton.
On the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
I'm hoping we're going to be ahead of Gasly and Carlos Sainz. Let's wait and see.
Line on the exit will receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
There we go. Yeah, we just about stay ahead of them. But yeah, really importantly, over these next few laps then, we have to bring these tyres in gently. That's what we didn't do in stint 1, and it really cost us. The advantage you get on a fresh set of tyres here is utterly ridiculous. Already taken nearly 3 seconds out of Ollie Behrman on this lap, and hopefully bodes well for our undercut on George Russell as well in this Grand Prix. But annoyingly, yeah, Behrman almost giving him a push down the hill, as Verstappen from the lead of the GP has dived into the pits as well. Oh, come on, Ollie, man, get on with it. I was going to try and get round him, but then I thought it'd be better just to sit behind until we got the DRS and can comfortably make our way through. But that's ridiculous, the drift he got out of the final corner. Still able to get the power down on the run back towards the start-finish line. Is he going to dive into the pit lane? I don't believe he is. So we should be able to get round him quite comfortably anyway, as there is George Russell in the pits.
Well there, nice one. There's a long way to go in this race though, so keep your head down.
I mean, look at that. We've got a 3-second undercut on George Russell here. We're going to be wheel to wheel with him on pit lane exits. Oh, Russell tries to give me a big old squeeze. We will get around the outside though, and we are up then into a net 6th, I think. Well, Leclerc then back out with a huge race lead once more, but we've got to be just quite sensible here against George Russell towards the end of the afternoon, as Alonso will peel into the pit lane. This should give us a rough idea of where we're going to be battling. So there we go. We've got still, I think, a couple more cars to pit once again. Hulkenberg now. I mean, how is Hulkenberg that close to the McLarens this deep into the Grand Prix? But Sainz and Albon as well. They're having a pretty good day in their Williams. But with 10 laps to go, it might genuinely be in our best interest to sit behind Russell for a little while here and just try and charge up the battery pack. Russell then going around the outside of Hulkenberg on the run back down towards Turn 1. New fastest lap of the day as well, but this is critical for us because we cannot afford to get stuck behind the Kick Sauber for all too long, otherwise we are going to be in a world of hurt pretty quickly. But we know this car's not great in a straight line there, but we should be able to get the power down and get around the outside of the other green machine. Gonna be a battle on the brakes though in towards the next corner as well. Hulkenberg.
Okay, we've got a full course caution. The safety car's out. Keep an eye on the delta. We need to keep it positive to avoid a penalty. Slow down, maintain positive delta.
I mean, not being funny there, he backed out of it and then at the last moment decided to stick the nose back in. Exactly the same incident as what we had with Jack Doohan a few weeks back here. But like, why, when you're on so much older tyres, why back out and then suddenly coast back in just to try and stay alongside? Either way, Hulkenberg's been screwed, and we might be able to go on to a fresh set of softs to the end. The pits we will go then, right at the end of that lap. We'll try and see, will we get any other cars into the pit lane? Looks like a few of them are coming in. Russell's opted to stay out. I think Sykes has still been out since the start. So he's going to try and obviously use this now for an optimal pit time. This is a big gamble towards the end of the afternoon because we're going to lose quite a lot of track position.
One stop left in this strategy.
I'm going to come out just behind Liam Lawson in P12, although apparently he's got to let me back by, so I guess we're only one place outside the points here. That should give us a good chance.
Return the position immediately or we're going to get penalised.
Oh, you've got to be joking. So Lawson was meant to let me by, didn't manage to in time, got a 10-second penalty as I overtook him, and then we get told to let him back by. Make that make sense, EA. Charles Leclerc then enjoyed a big old lead and a big old advantage throughout a lot of this Grand Prix today, but with 5 laps to go, all could be about to change. We have got the freshest, softest tyres of anybody in the field, so we've got to try and utilise that and gain a nice advantage towards the end as well. Ideally, I want to get back to Russell, but failing that, as long as obviously we get to the points first and foremost, that is going to be really, really important. So trying to get a run, trying to time a run on Liam Lawson back down towards turn 1. That's not quite going to happen.
This lap, give us the best in lap you can.
So down the inside there, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact with Liam as we both try to fight over the real estate on the running towards that first corner. But yeah, our front tyres, as well everybody else's, are very, very cold through these first couple of corners. I'm just trying to double check that I brought the car back into the standard medium. Whoa, ERS mode there. I mean, what is that from Esteban Ocon? We had a look to the inside, immediately decides to try and stop that.
For now, everything's looking good.
You cannot move like that in the braking zone. Luckily, we had so much extra grip we were able to avoid him and get it stopped. But that is crazy. There we go then, Kimi Antonelli trying to overtake the man he replaced down at Mercedes. And look at the run. Kimi Antonelli's able to get on Lewis Hamilton. No DRS, of course, enabled just yet. It looks like Leclerc just trying to build up a little bit of a buffer ahead of those guys behind once more.
DRS is now enabled.
Antonelli might have picked the wrong side there. Lewis Hamilton trying to get a run back down in towards turn 1. As now we are going to apply pressure in towards turn 2. And just like Esteban Ocon, Antonelli there trying to cover me off a little bit too late. Luckily, we'll make the move happen that time. And Antonelli a little bit more patient, or a little bit less aggressive, I should say, than Esteban Ocon. Here goes Hamilton around the outside of Alex Albon now. And I mean, look at all that battling going on just up in front. This could present us with a huge opportunity. Oh, towards the end of the afternoon there, as we get a big rear slide. Trying to get the power down. Oh, thought about it on Lewis, but just don't quite have the confidence on the brakes. We definitely have the confidence, though, in the traction zones. As Lewis Hamilton there will try and swing defensive. So we'll just go right around his outside.
Oh, please. We need to get you onto new tyres and move on to a different
Whoa!
strategy.
Whoa, Norris has gone round. Lando Norris has gone round late on in the day.
Okay,
How on earth? We got another safety car. What was
We
that?
need to form up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive.
Well, suddenly then we're up to P5 now in this Grand Prix, but another safety car late in the day here in Baku as Lando Norris went for a spin. No idea how we managed to avoid that. I just spotted it at the corner of my eye. And well, now again, we've got fresher, softer tyres than everybody else. And surely we're going to have an even bigger advantage. This will only be a one-lap safety car, though. I'm 99% certain. Well, here we are then. Charles Leclerc's got to do it all over again after yet another safety car restart here. He has got his work cut out. He is really being forced to try and win this race the hard way. But can we potentially try and get a jump on Oscar Piastri here down towards the start-finish line. As Max Verstappen as well struggling towards the end. He's even been jumped by his teammate Yuki Tsunoda there as we've nailed that against Oscar Piastri.
0 seconds.
Down the inside of the McLaren will go, and of course he's one of my big title rivals, so happy we can make that one. Will Leclerc be able to get away once again from those Red Bulls? They're going to have one lap of DRS. That might be all it takes for Tsunoda to win. Well, one more lap to go then, as we have got a huge run on Max Verstappen on the run back down towards turn 1. DRS though enabled with one more to go, but we're not going to need it around the outside of the Dutchman. And maybe now we can try and get redemption for our lost podium last weekend, as he will try and have a bit of a lunge down at turn 2 then. Not able to make it happen though. But we've just got to be careful that Tsunoda and Leclerc don't break free by too much either. We have to stay in the range of Yuki. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to get an opportunity to defend from Max here. But, whoa, desperately trying to keep the rears in check. I think we've taken everything out of these soft compound tyres. We've already done about 5 laps on them.
1.5 seconds.
I mean, that's ridiculous how oversteery this setup is right towards the very end there. And I mean, the tyres aren't overheating. It is just the soft tyres turned to jelly inside this game. But Verstappen, oh, I just see him drop back a little bit there. I think I heard the kind of traction cut in for the AI. He must have bogged down and kicked the back end out slightly. But will we be able to do anything in towards these final few corners? I've got to try and save as much battery as I possibly can here. We were denied a podium last weekend thanks to my own incompetence and stupidity. I do not want the same to happen today, but we are really, really struggling down in towards the final corner. I think Leclerc is going to do it. I think he's built up a big enough margin by the end of this Grand Prix to hang on for the victory. And what a victory it is going to be. What a weekend it has been from Charles Leclerc, but drain the battery on the run to the line. I've got to try and make this the widest Aston Martin you have ever seen in Formula 1. There goes Verstappen though. Oscar Piastri as well. We lose both because this car is a dog in a straight.
And Leclerc to the line, to the checkered flag. It's King Charles today. He wins.
And that's 2 wins in a row now, of course, Crofty. And it marks the fact that it's not a fluke. So, you know, their head's in the right space. What more can we see going forwards?
Well, I don't know about you, but I've absolutely loved watching that action today. And I'm sure these three have loved taking part. Here come our podium finishers. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc. Charles Leclerc on top.
Well, there we are then. Charles Leclerc, pole position. Didn't get fastest lap, but he dominated this one, to be fair to him. Nailed the strategy, and he will claim victory today. Charles Leclerc ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, Verstappen and Oscar Piastri both getting the jump on us towards the finish line there. That is why, ladies and gents, you don't pick the Aston Martin inside this game. Albon from the back of the field to P6 there. Very good job done by him. Just ahead of Antonelli, Hamilton, Ocon and Doohan will round out your top 10 there. Disappointing from Alonso that he wasn't able to score this weekend. But ultimately, I think this was always going to be a tough circuit for the car. Russell, obviously, and Norris both getting caught up in that incident late on in just the 2 Saubers that failed to see the checkered flag here today. What does that do to our World Championship? Well, it means now Verstappen, 36 clear of Lando Norris at the top of the table. We are almost at the 200-point barrier, but yeah, Oscar Piastri now much, much closer to his teammate than Lando is to the top of the World Championship. Alonso still in 11th, a little bit further back. but I don't think we've seen any of the real changes. Jack Doohan, I think, yeah, there we go. His first points of the year as well, so good to see for him dodging the chaos this weekend. McLaren now just 11 ahead of Red Bull in the Constructors as well, so that is certainly going to be raging on to the end of the year. Ferrari, they've got a pretty safe advantage over us now, and we've got a pretty healthy buffer ahead of Mercedes. Haas still ahead of Williams, but that could go down to the wire depending on what happens. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon ready for the Singapore Grand Prix.